A leading forensic psychologist who co-created the Columbia Mass Murder Database just publicly agreed with my psychic findings on violent crime on the Nancy Guthrie case. Dr. Gary Brucata, PhD, who wrote The New Evil, I'll show you in a second a screenshot, was on the interview room last night with Chris McDermott, who runs the Cold Case Foundation, very much like the Find Me group, but I don't believe Chris uses psychic mediums. But I'm going to show you exactly what he said and how it lines up with what I shared with you yesterday, the day before, the theory I've been running with since day one, since the Nancy Guthrie case started, with poor Nancy being missing now 23 days. Welcome to Motive.Means.Opportunity, where intuition meets justice. My name's Leanne, and thank you to all the new subscribers, loving on you, and everybody who's been here with me since the beginning. Today is Monday, February 23rd, my daughter's birthday. Happy birthday to her. We had a party here yesterday. It's 7:29 a.m. Eastern, and stick with me because I'm going to show you exactly what he said and how it lines up with what I've been sharing with you weeks ago since Nancy first went missing. And stay with me to the end, because this isn't just about me being right. It's about what this means for using intuition in real world cold cases. Dr. Gary Brucata, PhD, is a clinical forensic psychologist, researcher, and author specializing in violent crime, offender behavior, and severe psychopathology. He followed the Columbia Mass Murder Database. He is world renowned. So listen to what he said last night, February 22nd, on Chris's The Interview Room podcast. Before I show you the clip of him and what he says, I want to just highlight his points that summarize the comments that he makes that align with what I was saying. He describes the offender as, well, he says we're confused on the profiling, which is exactly what I feel, because he says it's staged. He feels there's a personal element, that it looks staged, and we're confused because there's different motives. There's the motive from the perpetrator in the mask, but there's the likely personal, potentially familial, who knows. They're saying they're ruling them out because the sheriff says that they're innocent, but we have to remember the FBI has stated that they have not ruled the family out. Anyways, he goes on to show that there's likely a different psychological lens from the person who hired the person with the vendetta, who made it look like this kidnapping, that it's staged. He feels it's staged. But the psychology of the person who is the background person, the person running the show, if you will, is different from the person at the door, which is what's confusing everybody. Also, we'll show you his clip in a second here. They touch base, I'm going to show you very briefly, just before Dr. Gary Brucata, says what he's going to, outline. They talk briefly about thinking that Tomato went in to use grandma's laptop. So interesting, because I said I felt like there was a laptop. So let's listen in now. I'm going to show you what he says.
But I think there's so many time gaps. I mean, from 9:45 at night. Look how much time there is for the person to do what they're, to get, or to do whatever they're going to do and to get away with it. One of the things that don't have, which I know law enforcement is so good at, the FBI were really good, is the car. If they could only get the car, so many cases get solved by the car.
There's always a car.
I just wanted to say, I told you from the beginning there was a car, and we showed you the pictures of the car lights in the background. So let's keep watching.
Andy, I'm sorry, Ann. What?
No, I said, Gary said that the journals or anything in the journal.
The journals, yeah.
Gary,
where are you leaning?
Oh, what I'm missing here, I missed this piece that I want to go back and show to this piece.
First impression was,
what do you think?
When I saw the ICAT guys go in, I thought he's using mom's computer.
That's what I thought.
See, Great
Okay.
minds think alike.
Yeah.
He's using mom's computer. What did I tell you? I felt there was a laptop. Keep listening. Keep listening. They rule that out because the sheriff said the family's been cleared, this taboo topic, although the FBI has not come out and said the same. And Maureen does say, I'm not going to show you the whole clip because it's Chris's 4-hour live and it was amazing. I haven't even watched the whole thing yet. Maureen says, what did she say? Hang on a second. She says, I'm not listening to the sheriff anymore. And I said that too. I wouldn't listen to the sheriff anymore. Now let's listen to Dr. Gary Brucato and what he says. And that's not just to disrespect Ann Burgess. She just finished saying she also feels it's personal. She's also a very famous profiler. But for the sake of the length of this video, I just wanted to keep it simple. Listen to what Dr. Gary Brucato has to say here.
Oh, that's
Well,
why
I
we
hope I
fell
have
for
it. Have
So
they
that
analyzed
has to
it?
be eliminated because she knows too much. That was the theory, right? Because that's a
Well,
Yeah.
that was on the table. I mean, right? You got to.
But we're not saying that now
We're not
because
saying that.
Yeah.
right, because the sheriff said that he's cleared, so we can't
But the
say that.
journal,
But
Chris is laughing. Chris is laughing. Yeah. Because the sheriff said he's cleared. It's like, look at the laugh on his face. Sorry, I don't mean to be disrespectful to the case and to Savannah. It's the ludicrousness of what I was saying in the video I did yesterday, this taboo topic. Like, don't dare point the fingers at the most obvious, and the number one are always the first and last people to see the person that's missing. And it's usually, the first people that you want to look at is investigators are the people that are right closest to Nancy. So it's kind of comical, not, but listen up.
I'd love that
I'm with you.
journal. Has
You
anybody
and me
analyzed the journal?
that was
boy,
the theory.
what I
That was
Gary?
the
Okay,
theory.
so I'm sorry, Eddie. I'm sorry, Ed. What
No, I said Gary said that the journal. Is there anything in the
the
journal?
journals? Yeah,
The-
Gary, where
Well,
are you leaning?
what I'm leaning
Listen
toward
up.
is that the reason we're all getting confused and we see the fragmentation is partly because there's more than one psychology involved and people with different motives. What I think is that there's somebody with a personal motive where something precipitated a need and needed to eliminate this poor woman, make it, I hate to say it, but it looks to me like it's staged to look like an abduction.
Yep.
But it was really the elimination of a person. I'm sorry to say that that's where my gut tells me. Or it was an abduction to make money that went haywire and didn't work out, because there's no proof whatsoever that she's alive, although I don't want to say that. But because there's some other hand that is involved, or hands that is involved, and everybody's looking at them, we're thinking about the practical psychology of the person who went in to actually perpetrate it. And so I think it's a mixture of things. As far as what might be the personal reason, I would imagine that we're going to find out eventually when this story emerges, that somebody wanted something from her and came up with an elaborate way to make it appear that something from the outside happened.
Yep.
So that some money could be slipped to them through a ransom story, or something that we don't know about the finances, something like that. But who that would be is a matter of, we have to figure it out, because there's been the clearance of the people in the immediate circle. So I think it's something like that. And I'm not sure, but that would then put it into categories that already exist. In other words, what bothers me about this case is that we're being asked to believe that this totally unprecedented thing happened in the annals of crime, when what's really going to happen is it's going to turn out to be some kind of more garden variety thing that looks complicated right now. But it always turns out to, because there's nothing new under the sun.
because it's human behavior.
Behavior, right? Exactly. So it always turns out to be that kind of a thing. Now, I know that sounds funny as somebody who talks about new evil, but all I mean is that the way we perpetrate things changes because of technology and the increasing disinhibition of people. But the crimes themselves aren't really that, they're never anything new. So that's what I suspect is going on, and that's why I think, and this point of driving home the why now, why
Yes.
urgency? Was there something urgent? For
Yeah,
example, did
that's
somebody
good.
owe a
Yeah.
lot of money to somebody
Yeah.
and say, "Can I have money?" No.
Bingo. What did I tell you? What did I say? I think that's definitely on the table. And while they are being respectful, and I get it, because the sheriff has said that the immediate family is not to be looked at, I still think we're going to find out that that is a psyop because they don't have the proof. Although they had the suspicion, they were there how many times at Annie and Tommaso's house. And in this interview, Chris says, and the car is still there, right? So you have to follow his full 4-hour podcast. But I think we're going to find out, regrettably, that there is a close tie. If I'm wrong, I will apologize. But at this point in time, I don't believe Sheriff Nanos. The FBI has not substantiated what he has said. And, again, it's not about being right. It's just that I want to come into this conversation with you. I never claim that psychic work replaces law enforcement or forensic psychology, but it is sometimes valuable because it can be used in parallel to collect evidence, to point dots to if the police happen to listen to what is being submitted by psychics. It gives an advantage on how to connect the evidence and the dots potentially. So that's why intuition matters. And when experts later, like Gary and Anne and Maureen and Chris, come on and talk similarly about what I'm describing, that to me is, wow, this is really solid. This is a really plausible theory. And again, this is just what my intuition's picking up. But people like Dr. Gary Brucato spend their lives studying the darkest corners of human behavior. And if my intuitive impressions even partially overlap with that, that's not a victory lap for me. It's a reminder that we may not fully understand how information and pattern recognition and consciousness works. Let's listen a little bit longer.
I'm a straight shooter. I don't get involved in things like that. You're on your own. That kind of thing. Did somebody, have a financial need in the neighborhood and come to her and say, "Well, you're a nice lady, could I have?" In other words, something like that is going to
Right.
come
We've seen that
forth
many, many times.
many times.
Gary, let me ask you and Anne a question. In your experience, and this is not related to this particular case, but you sparked it with something you said earlier. Are there cases you know of, or is it common for a person to go in to perpetrate one type of crime, like let's say burglary or kidnapping, and then just because they're there and a female's there, they just decide to sexually assault her? And I'm not talking about Nancy Guthrie. I'm just talking in
Sure.
general.
Okay, let's end it there. I'll let you watch this. I'll link this for you if you want to watch the full interview below. I just wanted to simply highlight that professionals are also leaning in the direction of what I've been feeling. So let's pray for Nancy. Thank you for being here. Do all the YouTubey things. Love and light.